then COVID cut everything off. We had a cabaret totally ready.
I heard that.
Totally
Yeah,
ready.
I heard about
Randy had
this.
us all done the choreography and everything, and then COVID came in and we had to cancel. And then
It was the first big thing that they had to cancel
yeah.
because of the pandemic. So here for us, the first thing that they really had to cancel because of the pandemic was actually my installation.
I remember that.
Oh gosh. And then shortly thereafter, Passover. But the first big thing was going to be my installation, and it was I think it might have even been the same weekend as when the cabaret would have been for you all. This
So
was
how
before.
did they do it? Did they finally...
So it was delayed significantly, and then it was around December of that year, they decided to do an online installation, which was very nice, very sweet. They did like a parade of cars by my apartment building and brought me enough food to feed me for like a month.
Cool.
They had the cantors who were in my class do like a music number arrangement of one of my compositions. They had one of my former bat mitzvah students speak about working with me. They brought in my childhood cantor to be the officiant.
Wow.
It was all very, very, as far as like, as best as they could have done it online, they did the best that it could have possibly been done online. The one thing that was kind of missing was the thing that was missing for all of us for that time was like communal singing, right? Like that component was missing, but in every other way they did a lovely job. And the other stuff we've now had chances to continue singing together and doing that kind of thing for a while now. So yes, I think so.
I have to look up that first game because I can see his face. I have no idea what his name is.
We'll see. We'll see if there's any other members here tonight who have your tenure in the congregation.
Most of them are dead.
I mean, Marnie Sheely, if she were here, might be one who would know. She was singing with the choir at that time.
The Blairs.
Oh yes.
Would know. There's some of the last ones left. That would be my mother's generation. There's only a handful now.
Sure. But yeah, the whole choir hidden behind the partition was a thing. The hidden choir was a phenomenon that has, in my opinion, thankfully been kind of relegated to the past. But the idea of like the voices kind of coming from the air, right? This kind of very like ethereal voice from on high kind of sense, very like decorous, decorum oriented kind of thing. Yeah.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Well, sure, and
did they ever come out, or did they just say,
No.
oh, really?
or like in some places they have
Not even bothered
like
with
in
those.
church, right?
Because that was the right.
And and some churches do this too, where they have like the choir is kind of hidden up in the balcony or something like that, and like it's kind of like out of the way, and kind of you hear the voices coming down. But no, in my humble opinion, I love the idea even of like the exact opposite, which is like having like the choir even like crowded around the cantor, in that kind of sense of being like almost co-leadership of the service, and not letting them hide.
I was so very fortunate to be able to go to Notre Dame twice, and the first time was after the first renovation, and I got in, I went past the confessionals in 18 languages, and I looked up to see the Rosetta window, and an American choir was there. From the far end of the cathedral, you could hear the music. And it was really cool.
I just noticed your Hebrew tattoo. It's lovely.
Thank you. Yes.
She has multiple Hebrew tattoos.
It's from Deuteronomy, justice you shall pursue, is the one that at least that I was noticing.
So,
Is that one new?
yeah, it is. I had to get my doctor's okay, and he said I
Oh,
could.
that's right.
And he said
I love that it's even the Hebrew text that has the crowns and ornaments on the letters.
Yes.
I love that.
That's what I did. Hello there, young person.
Young person.
He's mobile, dangerous.
You need to listen to a song by Lyle Lovett called Church, where he climbs into the choir because the preacher is going to preach all day. It is just an amazing song.
That's great. I will look that
I
up.
think I shared that with Rabbi once to remind him that, you know, kind of go too long.
I mean, his is not as bad as what I've heard of Rabbi Swarzetsky as far as length is concerned. And you know, if you go to some of the evangelical churches, those sermons can be pushing, you know, an hour.
Yeah. No, Rabbi would start at 7 o'clock, services would start, and by 9:30, everything was done. It was a 2-hour service.
Oh, my
And
Lord.
my dad wanted to sit second to the front row, or third, to the front. And as soon as the Torah went down, I would sleep, and apparently I snored even when I was 7. And Rabbi said, it's okay, it's probably the best sleep she gets all week. But the Rimonim still fascinate me, and at that time, the Torah had a breastplate on it, that had a little ark. You could open up, it was so cool.
So yeah, the Torah scrolls have adornments and ornaments on them. The Rimonim are crowns, essentially, that
back anyway, but that kind of made me pull the trigger.
So this is where you like you're from?
From Chicago area.
Chicago. It's really nice around here.
Yeah, my son is here, and this feels super comfortable and much more laid back than San Diego was and than Chicago is. So I'm happy. Are you happy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and Chicago's super close. Yeah.
Yeah. So
We made the trip a few times now. We're like, after you made it, it feels much closer.
Oh, in fact, we were there for Passover.
Nice. Yeah. You just make
Oh,
a.
it's just a little over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Depends on where you want to be in Chicago. So what caused you?
Wife was getting her PhD in Tallahassee, and she got a job at UW. So here we go.
So she was at Tallahassee last?
I guess so. I've never heard that before.
There's a song.
It's pretty old.
There's a song in the 50s or 60s called Tallahassee Lassie.
Tallahassee is strangely famous in like songs.
Well, it's the capital.
Yeah, in Florida, but it's just very small. Most people don't really know it. They're like Tallahassee, never heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I really didn't connect it to the
Is
capital.
it on the Panhandle?
That's where it's really ruggedly humid, right?
No, they're more. It's more like northern there than the rest of Florida.
So where did you
It's
grow
got
up?
hills and stuff too.
Where did you grow up?
Miami.
So this would be an adjustment for you.
Same Midwestern heart.
So which UW does your wife work in or was going to work in?
UW Madison.
What department?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you said which
Oh,
UW?
he meant what
Oh, okay.
department? I misinterpreted.
It's she helps administer the writing center.
That a little bit, I think. That's all right.
Daughter,
Is it too late?
No, just put it where you want and then let me,
you said.
give me a couple minutes to adjust the angles.
What do you have around here for community college? Just Madison Tech.
Stuff online even before the pandemic. And obviously.
Well, that didn't go well.
Person.
It's okay.
Okay, this is the next one. Smile. Hello.
Needs to be social.
Yes.
Say hi.
Sure.
Are you waving?
Look at that. It's really important. Go with it.
We're practicing.
Yeah.
Not quite figured this out.
I
Right?
have a grandson, he's he's a little over a year, and that's always a big
Yeah.
demand. Now, whenever you say bye,
Yeah.
his hand goes up. What's her name?
Eleanor.
Eleanor. Nice to meet you.
Say nice to meet you.
I'm meeting lots more Ellens and Eleanors and.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a niece who has an Ellie.
Okay, yeah.
There you go.
I was just saying, so their son is Theodore, and I love how all the old names are kind of coming back.
Yeah, Harrison.
Harrison,
The other
yeah.
one is Harrison, I think they said. My son and his wife named their son Henry.
Oh, we love that name, yeah.
We have a Henry. We have at least one Henry in our kindergarten class.
It's funny, like in her birthing class or whatever, there's another Henry, the mom,
Yeah.
they had their kids together.
Hmm.
Nicole's not here to correct me anymore. Harrison, come over here.
Raving at the front row. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I'd sit up there, Cantor, but he's just gonna.
I know.
For you.
For you all having some of the physical boundaries is helpful.
Yeah.
I get that.
Maybe if you had one of the grades here, be more.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Perhaps. All right, and so friends, please be sure as you walked in that we have a prayer book, Shabbalala prayer book, and Shabbat Program. There is a little bit of supplement in the program too that we'll be using it later on in the service. So do feel free
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. You may, some of you may have noticed that Rabbi Beich is not here this evening. He's begun we might call it a partial sabbatical for the next month. We're hoping that it will be rejuvenating and restful for him, and we'll look forward to seeing him in May. And so I'm really just privileged and honored to be here with you all this evening to welcome Shabbat together, to bring some light and warmth and song and joy and all of those good things. So I hope that those who are joining us here in the room and maybe perhaps also those joining us online have access to our prayer book for Shabbalala, our intergenerational music-filled Shabbat service. We also have a Shabbat program that has a little bit of some announcements, but also some other things that we may be using in the service. So find those and settle yourselves in, and we'll welcome Shabbat together. I would love to invite folks to open up those Shabbalala Sidurim, those Shabbalala prayer books to page, I think it's page 5, where we have Chiri Bim Bam. Thinking about how we bring in Shabbat together, I'm going to ask you all to repeat certain things after me. I don't have Rabbi here to help me out, so hopefully there'll be some here who will be familiar enough to help us out with this particular song. When I sing Lecha Dodi, you will sing Chiri Biri Bam. Can you all try that? Chiri Biri Bam. Beautiful. And when I sing Likrat Kala, you will sing Chiri Biri Bam. Try that. Chiri Biri Bam. Lecha Dodi, Chiri Biri Bim. Likrat Kala, Chiri Biri Bam. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Chiri Biri 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 Bim. Chiri Bim, Chiri Bam. Chiri Bim Bam Bim Bam Bim Bam. Chiri Bam, Chiri Bim. Chiri Bim Bam Bim Bam Bam. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Chiri Bim 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 Bam. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Chiri Bim 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 Bam. When I sing Shabbat Shalom, you will sing Chiri Biri Bim. You got it. When I sing to everyone, you will sing Chiri Biri Bam. Beautiful. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Chiri Biri 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 Bim. Chiri Bim. Chiri Bam. Chiri Bim Bam Bim Bam Bim Bam. Chiri Bam. Chiri Bim. Chiri Bim Bam Bim Bam Bam. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Chiri Bim 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 Bam. Hey, oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Oi Chiri Biri Biri Bim Bam Bam. Chiri Bim 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 Bam. Shabbat Shalom indeed. We'll continue welcoming Shabbat by bringing in the light of the Shabbat candles. And I want to make sure that I am on the correct page before I invite us to gather in that light together. So we will find the blessings for the Shabbat candles are on page 6 in our prayer books. I want to make sure I do not do that. All right. gather in the light into our hearts, hoping that it will fill us for the entirety from sundown tonight till sundown tomorrow and even into the week beyond. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech haolam asher Yirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat Blessed are you who commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat, And the light only increases, and it is sown into everything. And so we will continue our welcoming of Shabbat with words from Kabbalat Shabbat, from the Psalms that offer praise and joy. Indeed, at the bottom of page 6, or Zarua. Or Zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. U'yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. U'yishrei lev simcha. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la. Or Zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. U'yishrei lev simcha. Or Zarua la tzadik u'yishrei lev simcha. U'yishrei lev simcha. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la. And our tradition teaches us that we should greet Shabbat with the same kind of joy that one might greet a bride at her wedding, or perhaps the same kind of joy that we get from running around on the bima. Whatever it gives us that joy should be filling our hearts as we sing Boi Kala at the top of page 7. Careful, buddy. All right. Boi Kala, Boi Kala, Boi Kala, Boi Kala. Boi Kala, Boi Kala, Boi Kala, Boi Kala. Lecha dodi, likrat Kala, b'nei Shabbat nekah. boikala, 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 boikala. Boikala, 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 boikala. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Boikala, 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 boikala. Boikala, 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 boikala. Boikala, boikala. This welcoming for us, it's like warm-ups, right? It makes space in our hearts for joy, for gratitude, for light, for warmth. And there comes that moment where we actually then essentially ask ourselves the question, are we in fact ready to pray? And we offer one another an invitation to pray, to look inside, to see what's going on in our own hearts, and to raise all those things that we want to be thinking about and be grateful for. And so we'll turn to we'll stay on page 7 in our prayer books, but we'll show that we're feeling that sense of preparedness, that readiness, by rising together as a community and offering Baruch Hu. Yada lai lai lai, 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 yada lai lai lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yada lai lai lai, 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 yada lai lai lai. Page 8. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. We may all be seated. In the blessing after Shema, we dwell on thoughts of liberation, and in particular, the liberation, the freedom that our ancestors experienced in the going out from slavery in Egypt. Now, I don't know why we might be thinking about that even more so this week than other weeks. What makes this Shabbat different from all other Shabbats, as it were? Getting a chance to sing the song of liberation that our ancestors sang at the shores of the Red Sea, filling ourselves with that same kind of joy and gladness, and thinking about all the kinds of freedoms that we have and those who may not have those same kinds of freedoms, and how we can bring that liberation and freedom to others, always good and important things. And so we'll join together with Mi Chamocha, also I believe on page 8. By the way, I'm hopeful that the prayers, the page numbers in my little list here are the same as what you all have in your book. If I get a page number wrong, please feel free to call out and correct me. But we'll continue with Mi Chamocha on page 8. Yai lai 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 la 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 la, yai lai lai la lai la 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 la, yai lai 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 la 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 la, yai lai 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 ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'edar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot oseh pele, Nora tehilot oseh pele. Yai la la la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la 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 la, yai la la la, yai la 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 la. So friends, we're reaching a moment in our service where we actually turn our thoughts and attention inward. The word in Hebrew that means to pray actually literally means to examine inside. They call it, the technical term is that it's a reflexive verb. It means to examine inward or to look, another word sometimes used to translate is to intercede, which means, speak on behalf of, but to really look inside and kind of examine what's going on. So we have that opportunity to think about those things that we want most in our lives, to think about those things that we are really thankful for, to think about the things that we want to try to do better, and no matter what, to let those words be true and to be good. So we'll join together on page 10, getting ourselves ready for this moment of offering good words and pure words and opening our hearts. So we'll sing together. Open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely, open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely, open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. Adonai sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. We have a few moments to offer words from our hearts. You can think about the things that are most important. Listen to sounds around you, perhaps of small children. Think about the joy that that brings. We'll offer ourselves a few moments of quiet prayer. Perhaps not so quiet. our sages teach about the greatness of shalom, the greatness of peace. They talk about it quite a bit, actually. They say over and over again, Gadol HaShalom, literally, peace is great. And you can almost hear somebody from the back of the room shouting, how great is it? And then they tell you why. And they give example after example of why peace is so important, that idea of wholeness, something that we strive for, something that we strive to create. And one of the examples that they give is they say peace is so great, for all prayer is sealed with peace, including the prayers that we offer from our own hearts. And so we'll gather together with words of a prayer for peace on page 11. May the one who makes peace in the high places bring peace to us as well. Oh, say shalom. Oh, that's too high. We're going to try here. That'll be better. Say shalom b'roma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Say shalom b'roma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Say shalom b'roma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Say shalom b'roma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Say shalom b'roma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Say shalom b'roma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Say shalom b'roma, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Just as we pray for peace and for wholeness for ourselves, for Israel, and for all who dwell on earth, we also have an opportunity to pray for peace and wholeness for those who we're holding in our own hearts, especially those who might be in need of a different kind of wholeness, of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. So in a moment, we'll be offering a prayer for healing for those who are in need. That's on page 12. But before we do so, we want to raise the names of those who we're thinking of in our hearts. We have a healing list here at Temple Beth El that we don't read out loud as much when we're on live stream and on live mic, but these are folks who know that we're thinking of them and offering prayers on their behalf and appreciative of that. At the same time, we know that there are those who might be here and present who have folks that you're thinking of who either need wholeness of body or are seeking wholeness of heart. And so if there's somebody that you're thinking of in this moment, if you want to share their name out loud or just inside, that's okay too. We'll offer everyone here and those who are with us online also an opportunity to do so. Thank you.
Jeff Howard.
Bill Season.
Thanks.
Wounded warriors and nurses that have been in
Thank you. Anybody else that we should be thinking of in this moment? Thank you. Out loud and in our hearts, we think of those who need that healing and wholeness, and we sing our strength to them with a prayer for healing, Mishaberach, on page 12. Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And not just prayers of healing and wholeness to those who are in need, but it's also good to take this opportunity, as I mentioned before, not just on Shabbat, but maybe perhaps especially on Shabbat, to be thinking about things that we're grateful for or joyous occasions that we're marking or celebrating. And so I wanted to give everyone a moment to maybe perhaps think of something that, if you're experiencing a simcha, a joyous occasion of some kind, either recently or that you're looking forward to very soon, or perhaps just something that you're feeling very, very grateful for in this moment, on this particular Shabbat evening. I have a microphone here that we can allow for anybody so that everybody can hear, and also so that folks who are online can hear as well. And of course, those who are joining us online, you're also welcome to share simchaot, joyous occasions or pieces of gratitude in the comments. But is there anybody here who has a simcha or something joyous or a piece of gratitude that they'd like to share? Please.
I passed my 3-month checkup from cancer and I'm okay.
Oh, mazel tov. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Any other simchas or pieces of gratitude?
3 of my granddaughters are helping me make Seder tomorrow.
Oh, very nice having the family there. Lovely. Thank you so much. Any other simchas, joyous occasions, or pieces of gratitude?
A little in advance, but my daughter will be graduating from Madison College in June. And yeah.
So we say b'sha'a tova, that may it come at a good time and in a good way. Wonderful, absolutely. Any other simchas, sources of joy or sources of gratitude? And these don't have to just come to your mind in this moment. They can come to your mind and to your heart at any time this Shabbat or in the moments and weeks and days that come ahead. And so we'll offer a blessing, as we are wont to do. to give thanks and praise to the one who has brought us to this moment and allowed us to reach this time. We have Shehechianu at the bottom of page 11 that we'll offer together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kirmanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Okay, that's one of the cups. I'm sorry, Steve. Thank you. That's why we do white grape juice. I apologize. All right. We were worried about that. All right, well, friends, this Shabbat evening, I would love to share, actually, instead of a Devar Torah or a Drash, to just share a story with you and kind of let it sit with us. Careful, my friend. And perhaps thinking about those sources of joy and workouts that we might receive over this Shabbat. So we'll offer I want to share with you all this story. It's one of my favorites, actually. And it's not especially connected to Pesach, but it came to me through another story that was related to Pesach. So here's the story. Once upon a time, friends, there was a shepherd. This shepherd had spent his whole life learning how to do things like tending to animals, growing vegetables, whatever else he and his family needed to live, to survive. This shepherd knew a lot about goats and sheep, how to tend to their wounds, how to protect them from danger. And he knew a lot about vegetables and grain, how to make sure that they got enough rain and sun, and to give them enough room to grow. But he didn't know much about anything else. It wasn't that he wasn't smart. He just hadn't had the opportunity to learn how to read and write, or to learn about things like math and science, religion, philosophy. When he prayed, it wasn't from a prayer book, but words that he made up right off the top of his head. Words that came from his heart. He liked to sing these made-up prayers while he worked in the fields. He would sing, "Dear God, if you have sheep, I will care for your sheep. If you are hungry, I will give you my radishes. If you are very hungry, I will give you all my radishes." One day, while the shepherd was praying, a rabbi walked by and overheard this song. "Poor man," thought the rabbi. "No one has ever taught this person how to pray." And so the rabbi went up to the shepherd and offered to teach him how to pray the right way. And the shepherd, who was really excited for an opportunity to learn from a rabbi, agreed. So the rabbi spent the whole afternoon teaching the shepherd all of the prayers, when to open his eyes and when to close them, when to stand, when to sit, when to pray quietly, and on and on and on and on. The shepherd was really very grateful, and he promised to pray properly from then on. However, the next day, the shepherd got really nervous because he couldn't remember all of the details. He couldn't remember when to stand, when to sit, when to bow. He couldn't even remember all of the words. And so, rather than pray wrong, he simply did his work in the field, and he didn't pray at all. Up in heaven, God was having a terrible day. God had so enjoyed the shepherd's prayers, and God noticed when the shepherd's prayer was missing. So God sent an angel to investigate. And when the angel came upon the shepherd working in the field, the angel asked him, "Why aren't you praying?" So the shepherd explained what had happened, how this rabbi had taught him the right way to pray, how he had then forgotten all the details, and how he was now afraid of praying wrong. The angel smiled and said, "Would you like to see how the angels pray in heaven?" The shepherd's face brightened with excitement, and he said that he would like that very, very much. And so the angel brought the shepherd up to heaven, where the entire heavenly court with all of its different kinds of angels had just begun to pray. And singing only as angels can, half the heavenly host chanted, you might guess, "Dear God, if you have sheep," and the other half answered, "I will care for your sheep." And one half sang, "If you are hungry," and the other half answered, "I will give you my radishes." The shepherd began to cry tears of joy, understanding at last how important his prayers were, those prayers that came from his heart. There are a lot of different versions of that story, but that's my favorite. We are in a really interesting time now in the calendar. We are still in the middle of Passover, but we have also begun a cycle that happens in the calendar between now and the next major festival of Shavuot that happens in just a little bit under 7 weeks. During that time of 7 weeks, 49 days, there's a custom of actually counting those days, of marking that time. There's all kinds of different customs and rituals and meanings associated with that counting, that marking of time. Once upon a time in the ancient land of Israel, it had a very strong connection to agriculture and the growing season and concern about whether or not the crops would grow well and the kind of anxiety that was connected with that. And so they would kind of count bundles of grains and things like that between Passover and Shavuot when they would hope that they would have a good harvest. In the Torah, the time period between when we mark Pesach and we mark Shavuot is also kind of set on top of the time period that it took from when the Israelites were freed from slavery in Egypt and the time that it took them to get from having crossed the Red Sea to Mount Sinai to receive Torah. And so this idea of how they made that shift from having just escaped slavery and still being a little bit in that kind of place of narrowness to how they could then be ready to receive Torah. There are rituals that we offer for, I'm just not going to even bother. Hold on one second, friends. Let me do this a little bit better. Thank you for your patience. I'm going to move this just completely over this way. Should have done that initially. All right. So there are blessings that are associated with this counting as well, and kind of marking the day as we continue throughout. There's also other beautiful customs that are associated with Jewish mysticism and the various aspects of God's presence in creation according to teachings from Jewish mysticism. There's also a lovely custom of studying from Pirkei Avot, which is a collection of ethical teachings from the sages in the Mishnah. And so here I wanted to share with you all an opportunity for us just to say the blessing, to announce the day, and then to offer this song that's kind of geared a little bit towards some of our younger friends, but that's quite all right. We can enjoy it together here as well. And so we have a blessing here at the top of page 4, which you all are welcome to recite with me in the supplement. On page 4 of the supplement, we have a blessing at the top, and then we're announcing the day, and then we'll sing a little song about it too. So we'll say together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who makes us holy with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. And I'll say, Hayom Yom Shnei Yamim La Omer. Today is 2 days of the Omer. And so we'll sing together. I have a song I wanted to share with you. And so we did a different melody around counting of the Omer at the Seder here last night. This is one that I would perhaps sing with some of our younger friends who are exploring somewhere else. We're counting the days. Try that. We're counting the days. Today is the second day. We're on our way. Today is the second day. We're on our way. From Pesach until Shavuot time. From Pesach until Shavuot time. 7 weeks until 49. 7 weeks until 49. All together, we're counting the days. Today is the second day. We're on our way. From Pesach until Shavuot time. 7 weeks until 49. Day after day, the weeks are going by. Try that. A day after day, the weeks are going by. Till the day that we stood at Mount Sinai. Till the day that we stood at Mount Sinai. The day that we love Shavuot. The day that we love Shavuot, when God gave us the Torah and mitzvot. When God gave us the Torah and mitzvot. Day after day, the weeks are going by till the day that we stood at Mount Sinai. The day that we love Shavuot, when God gave us the Torah and mitzvot. We're counting the days. Today is the second day. We're on our way. From Pesach until Shavuot time. 7 weeks until 49. We mark time in all kinds of different ways. Some of them are simpler and some of them are more complicated. Some of them are filled with joy and some of them are filled with sadness. Some of them are a mixture of the two, or neither. And all of them are important and holy. And so whether we are counting time for the Omer or marking an important anniversary or marking an important yahrzeit, all of those are holy and sacred ways of marking our time. Speaking of those other ways of marking time, I want to offer us a chance to think about those who we might be remembering who are no longer with us in this moment, those who have passed away recently, but also those whose yahrzeit and whose anniversaries of passing we mark on this Shabbat. We raise their memories in our hearts and think about the many ways that their memories are blessings to us and to those that we know. And we bring praise into the world really in their name through the ways that we treat one another and the ways that we bring love and light into the world. Recently in our community, in our congregation, we are holding in memory and in consolation the families of Annalise Sossman, mother of Jim Sossman, grandmother of Samantha and Jeremy Sossman. We're remembering Robert Abramovitz, uncle of Eliza Hoffert and great uncle of Corey Hoffert. We're remembering Malcolm A. Brahms, father of one of our former rabbis, Rabbi Jan Brahms. And we're remembering Sari Lynn Smith, cousin of Eliza Hoffert and Corey Hoffert. And to their names, we raise the names of all of those we know and love, and especially and particularly those whose yahrzeit and those whose anniversary of passing falls on this Shabbat. Among those names, we think of Morton Jackson Adelson, Mildred Agins, Jack R. Alschuler, Michael Ash, Ramon Barth, Irving Berman, William Bolotin, Marcy Brower, Rose Davidson, Harry Epstein, Aaron Epstein, Robert Garton, Eva M. Haynes, Marlene Hansen, Sam Horn, Kenneth W. Howards, Michael David Samuel Howards, Irving Howards, Kurt Jacobson, Marilyn Tolly Jenkins, Sidney Krasnick, Stanley I. Cutler, Melissa Larson, Irving E. Levy, Milton Mail, Richard McGuckin, Fannie L. Michaels, Rose Malovsky, Stuart Miller, Sewell Potter, Gordon Roth, Bernice Muriel Schubert, Aviv Shear, Jeremiah Steinberger, Stanford Stillpass. There may be others with us here, either in this room physically or joining us online, who have names of loved ones that you are holding in your hearts at this moment. If there's a name that you would like to share, to add to our Kaddish list this evening, I invite you to do so. Thank you. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. In the spirit of community and consolation, and also honoring the fact that there are those who do not have anyone to stand for them, we rise as a community and join together with words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 13. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemech rabba be'alma di v'rach yirutech v'yamlich malchutech b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shemech rabba mivarach le'alam ul almei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemech dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Indeed, zecher tzadik livracha. May their memories be for justice and for blessing, and we say amen. You all may be seated. A moment to offer gratitude and for those who have helped with our worship this evening. All of my thanks always goes to our tech support with our facilities coordinator, Stephen Gregorius in the back, but also our greeter this evening, Mona Stats, and gratitude as well for the sponsors of our Oneg this evening, which is our TBE sisterhood, the Women of Reform Judaism. A few announcements that I would love to offer in this moment. This Shabbat, tomorrow morning, we have Torah study at 9 a.m. I do not know, does anybody know who is leading that Torah study? It is Steve Craig? Lovely. And so there will be Torah study tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., which will be both in person in room 110 and on Zoom. Next week, we have a few things happening. On Tuesday evening of April 11th, we'll be marking the end of Pesach, which is also a Yom Tov. It's also a festival day. And so on Tuesday, the TBE office will close at noon in advance of the holiday. And that evening, we'll have a festival evening service at 5:30 p.m., which will include Yizkor, a memorial service, which is observed at the three pilgrimage festivals throughout the year. That will be again at 5:30 p.m. here in the building. And so Wednesday, April 12th, the office will be closed in observance of the last day of Pesach. Next Friday at 7:30 p.m., we will have Shabbat worship here in the sanctuary. I am very pleased that I'll be joined by a congregant helping to lead services that evening. While I don't mind officiating on my own, I also always enjoy working with others and bringing others into the practice of facilitating prayer and worship. So that will be wonderful to be together next Friday at 7:30. Next Saturday at 9 a.m., we will also have tech study, but rather than being normal Torah study, there will be a brief amount of time spent on the Torah portion that week, and then they will be engaging in something that they're calling Beyond the Five Books, meaning studying other parts of the Hebrew Bible, whether it's from the book of Job or other prophets or other scrolls in the Hebrew Bible. And so that will be at 9 a.m. next Saturday. Following that at 10 a.m., there will be a brief Cafe Shabbat, a brief Nash. We'll be on the other side of Pesach at that point, so I'm assuming that it will likely involve bagels. And then at 10:30 a.m., there will be what we're calling Tfilat Shabbat, a community Shabbat morning service that is lay-led, has a little bit less formality. It's very lovely and warm and welcoming, invites lots of questions and explorations. That will be led by Carl Cinderbrand and Sydney Fine. The next person to come to our Bima for B'nai Mitzvah will be on Saturday, April 29th, when Rainan Falk, daughter of Dory Botts and Shane Falk, will come to our Bima as a bat mitzvah at 10:30 a.m. Again, that will be on Saturday, April 29th. Are there any other announcements that anybody else thinks I might be missing? It happens sometimes. Oh, is it as well? Okay, that tomorrow's Torah study will also involve potentially that Beyond the Five Books expansive look at other parts of the Hebrew Bible. Lovely. Thank you. show up and find out. All right. So friends, we're going to be coming to the end of our service in just a moment. Before we do so, we have a lovely custom that we bring into Shabbalala that actually comes from home ritual, a practice where parents will sometimes bless their children. And we kind of expand that here to the idea that all of us have the opportunity to bless one another. And so we take that chance before we offer our concluding blessings of Kiddush and Motzi. So on page 14, we're going to look at where it says in the middle of the page, for all of us blessing each other. If you happen to be a younger person that where growing up brought you, I would encourage you to be together, but I think that all of our young ones have exited. And so if you're here with those who you came with, it's good to be close to one another, and we'll offer each other this blessing of peace. All you have to do is repeat after me. May God bless you. Oh, let's try that one more time. May God bless you. May God keep you. Shine light on you. Help you find peace. May God watch you and stay with you forever and ever. Ever. We're going to try the Hebrew. Take it a little slower. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai Panav elecha vichuneka Panav elecha vichuneka Yisa Adonai Panav elecha ve'yasem lecha Shalom. May God bless you. May God keep you. Shine light on you. Help you find peace. May God watch you and stay with you forever and ever and ever. So on page 15, we have blessings to offer before we depart for whatever food and drink we may be continuing to enjoy on this particular Shabbat evening. And so let me just get to that page here for myself. I believe that we'll have opportunities to consume fruit of the vine and bread from the earth, and so we'll offer these blessings together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. And then for whatever food you may be consuming, especially if it's bread from the earth or matzah as the case may be, we'll offer Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz Shabbat Shalom. And we'll wish one another a Shabbat Shalom and a good rest of your evening. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.